Okay, so welcome back to the second video in which we're making the Alien Invasion game from the Python Crash Course book by Eric Mathis. And last time we left off, we had created the screen, but when we ran the program, it popped up as completely black and nothing on it. So what we're going to start off here with this video is starting to think about some settings. So not only, we're going to run up here to the init method, and you see we're creating the screen and we're setting the caption. So we're going to throw in a little bit of code here. Right after we display the caption, we are going to set the background color. So just put a little comment in here, set the background color, and that way we'll know what's going on here. And to do that, we'll do self.bg color. So again, here we are creating an attribute called background color, and we are going to set it to the values 230, 230, 230. So this is RGB, red, green, blue. We talked a little bit about that. But whenever you use RGB values that are the same value for red, green, and blue, it's equal amounts of everything. So it's going to create a type of gray. The higher the number, the lighter the gray, because it's closer to white. White is 255, 255, 255, and black would be 0, 0, 0. So 230, 230, 230, that gets us a nice light gray. So this attribute, background color, gets set as this tuple, 230, 230, 230, and then we're going to come down here within our run game. So after we redraw the screen through each loop, we're going to come right in here and we are going to redraw the screen. Because we said before that we'll make the most recent, this pygram.display.flip shows us the most recent screen. So that must mean that we are going to be redrawing our screen each time. So we're going to do that here. And right now we're just going to do a self.screen.fill, and we'll do self.bg color. So this fill method is a method that's been built into the screen in which is going to take this attribute 230, 230, 230, and that's going to be the color that is selected for our screen. Okay, so now that we have that all set up, we should be able to run this now. And instead of a black screen, we get a blank gray screen, which is 230, 230, 230. So now we're starting to develop how our screen is going to look each time. Okay, so we're starting to develop some settings. These are, I guess you could consider settings for the game. And before we go much deeper, here's an example of a position where we can say, wait a minute, if we're going to be doing a lot of different settings, perhaps we should break this off into a new class. So what we're going to do here is create a settings class. So I'm going to come over here to my file explorer, and you should see just your Alien Invasion folder that you created. And I'm going to create a new file. And I'm going to call this one settings.py because I'm going to make a settings class. And when you make a file, you're going to call it the class name. So class setting, so we should capitalize this. Yeah, settings. And we'll come down here, and this would be a class to store all of our settings for alien invasions. And again, once you define a class, you need to define its init method. Oh, I didn't close my doc string. There we go. So init, put self in there. And so this is going to initialize the game's settings. And so in here, we'll start with putting a little comment here for the screen settings. And so first we'll do self.screen width. So our screen width, we're going to set to 1200, and we'll do self.screen height equal to 800, and then we'll do our self.screen, we'll just do background color just like we had before. And we'll set that equal to 230, 230, 230. Okay, so now we have created a settings class, and we've taken our width and our height that we had established before in the main program, and we've now brought them out to its own class, settings, and we've defined the width and the height, and we've defined the background color. Get rid of that extra space there. There we go. All right, so we'll go ahead. It should be automatically saved, but we'll go ahead and save it just in case. And now that that settings has been saved, we'll go back to our alien invasion, and now we're going to kind of refactor this a little bit. So after our pod game, well, first we need to import. Okay, so from settings, we're going to import the settings class. So again, right now our settings file only has one class, settings. So if we import settings as we did import pygame, import sys, then we're going to have to call everything with settings dot this and settings dot that. Whereas if we write our import statement to import just the class, we can simplify how we write things in our code. And so this, for what we're doing and how we're doing this, this is a much better import statement for what we're trying to do. So we're going to come down here on line 10, we'll come down one, and after we call the pygame init, then we're going to call self.setting, and we're going to set that equal to our settings class. Sorry, capital S for settings, and that's going to call the settings init. So now that we have that, instead of 1200 by 800, we're going to change this mode, and we're going to go ahead and come down a line to make it easier so we can see everything that's in here. So we get rid of this 1200 by 800, and we're going to set it up as self.settings.screen width, comma, self.settings.screen height. And that way, again, this is programming dynamically so that if we ever decide that we want our screen to be a different size, we can go into our settings file and change the size of our screen. And when those screens change, those settings change, it'll automatically update because we've assigned it to a variable, and we just need to change that variable's value, and it changes every place that it needs to change. And again, we're going to come down here to self.background color. And we are going to, here we go. So we're just going to do self.settings.background color. We'll change that there. And that should change everything that we needed to change. We'll go ahead and run it just to make sure that our screen is still coming up gray, just like it was before. All right, so now we have established our settings and we have set up our screen so that we see something new. We see that our screen is starting to develop itself. And again, we've learned how to create a separate file, a new module where we can keep all of our settings in and we can use them within our alieninvasion.py. All right, so that's it for this second video. And the next video we're going to bring up will be adding the ship class. So I'll see you then. Take care.